Yeah, you bought a Creality K1 and for some reason you have to leave Prusa Slicer and jump over to Creality Print. You don't like that and you don't want that. And therefore you are watching this video, because in this video I'm going to show you all my settings that I'm currently using on my Creality K1 in Prusa Slicer, right here on Zachary's 3D Prints. Hey, this is Zach here. You know, before I'm going to do a review about the Creality K1, I want to make sure that also users from Prusa Slicer can work with the Creality K1 instead of using Creality Print, which is basically a copy from Prusa Slicer. I don't know how they did it and why they did it, but they should make profiles for the most common slicers. They can also provide, Creality Print as an add-on bonus for completely new users. But in my case, and I think also in your case, you also want to use your favorite slicer, like Prusa Slicer. I already got a calibration cube out of it, and now I'm fine-tuning it a little bit even more. But I can assure you that, once you have set the right settings, then it is just tweaking and fine-tuning it until you get the perfect prints for your needs. Let's get started. So as you can see, this is a calibration cube sitting on a build plate. What is so special about it? Of course, this looks very similar to a printer from Creality that is already a Core XY. And the reason for that is I want to make sure to have the right kinematics of this 3D printer in order to get it all working. I didn't try any other printer from Creality and Prusa Slicer, but I want to make sure that the Core XY system is already intact. So let's get first the printer. In the configuration wizard, we are going to wait, of course. There we select Creality and the 6. I didn't take the Creality and the 7 because it's still on beta. I'm not going to try that one. I took this one. Then we click on next. And of course I have already the Creality K1 test, but basically what I did here, you have Creality and the 6. So this is the typical build plate that you, wait, I got this. There you go. Basically what you are going to do, or watch this video or go into Creality Print and pick up all the settings for the Creality K1. First, we are going to the bed shape. In the bed shape, we are going to go for the 220 times 220. The origin is at 0.0. If you also want to have this fancy build plate, we go into load. There we are going into the C drive, program files. We are going into Prusa 3D. We are going to select that, Prusa Slicer, resources, profile, and there in Creality we are going for the N6. Double click on it, and then we are going to load, and then we are going to select the bed. By the way, it is an STL file. And then we click on OK. So we can go here to plotter, and as you can see, it already changed. Now we are going to set the maximum print height because the Creality N6 has a 400 in Z height. So the Z height for the K1 is 250. So 250. The Z offset, I don't see anything crazy here. We will leave it as it is. Just like in a previous video about the Creality KA, putting in Cura. I also going here, instead of the Marlin, I'm going for the Rep firmware. The custom thumbnail, what I usually see is 64 times 64, and 33 times 33. You will see in a bit why I would do that. Then we are going to the custom G-code. We leave this as it is because I tried to change it, but for some reason it didn't take the right G-code. So there needs to be fine-tuning, but that maybe I will do that. Maybe somebody else is going to pick this up, but this is good enough for me. The only thing that I do is add a G29 to it. The machine in itself has already some G-code settings installed on there. So if you're going to send a print to the printer or put it on the USB thumb drive, it already is going to do the start sequence. I don't know how Creality did do it. Who knows? It's my guess, but we will put here a G29 in there so that it does do the mesh bed leveling. I don't know if it is really needed, but better safe than sorry. ABL, so that you know what it is. So machine limits, we have to put every machine limit in here. In Creality Print, you are going to the move ability within the K1, and then you are going to transfer every single speed that you can find. So the maximum feed rate for the Z is 30. Maximum feed rate extruder is called here maximum feed rate. So this is 100. Maximum acceleration for the X and for the Y is both 20k. The maximum acceleration for the Z is 500. The maximum acceleration for the extruder, I don't see it here. Maximum filament acceleration, it's 5000. So I will leave it there. Maximum acceleration when retracting. Yeah, I don't find it in here. It's what it is. Jerk limits, also move ability. So for the X and for the Y is both 9. Z jerk is 2 and E jerk is 2.5. Then we have extruder 1. Also here some settings to play with, of course. So we are going to the extruder. Nozzle diameter is 0.4 or 0.40. The nozzle offset for the X and Y is 0. That's right over here, but I don't know if it is needed, yes or no. I didn't change anything here. Retraction, we are going to move extrusion, retract. Sometimes in Creality Print it's called like this, and in Creality Print it's called a little bit different, but make sure to have everything equally. Wipe length, I've got here retraction length, so I will put here in 2. Retraction speed is 30. Detraction speed, I will put also 30. There are some little things that you need to play with, like mentioned, and once everything is done, it's going better and you will get the best possible settings for your K1. Further nothing. So we have also print settings. Also this you need to change. You can find those settings if you are going into Creality Print and take one of the profiles, normal, then you will find also speed. So I've got here, I think it will, yeah, it takes over the print settings that I already have. So I will go over it. So take your time and check all the settings that I have here. Currently I'm printing calibration cube. It's at 30 minutes already. So that is still pretty slow. But of course, you know, we can always tweak as we go. Now for the print and speed for print moves, 300 small parameters, 300, 200 for the external. Infill is 300, solid infill 200, top solid infill 200, support material 150, bridges 100, and gap fill also 100. For the travel, I set it on 500, and for the Z travel, so for the height, I put into 40. First layer speed 20 millimeters per second or percentage. One rule of thumb for your first layer, go slow, because that is the factor that makes your print will fail or will be successful. So I will leave it all up to you. And then there are some other things, but these are print settings. But eventually, this is what you're going to get. I will put the calibration cube in the middle. Then you can fine-tune what you want here, infill, more, supports, user brim, and then you are clicking on slice. At this moment, the normal print time is 41 minutes. But of course, like mentioned, the more you fine-tune it, the better print speed you will get. Since the Creality K1 isn't in Prusa Slicer, this is just the first step into forcing Creality to put also some decent, well-working printed profiles in Creality Print, but maybe also in Cura and many other very known and very popular slicer softwares. If you are going to export the G-code, well, I'm using Creality Print in order to get into my device and then import it. So I have on my desktop, I've got a folder named Creality K1 G-code files, and I will put it in there, just like here, export G-code, and here, desktop Creality K1 G-code. I will put it in there. So this is the Creality Print device where my Creality K1 is connected to. So once I'm in here, I will click on import, and then I will select the file. If you are going to test it and see what best works, rename the file as you go. The first one that I have here was my very first one, and then I tried it with going for higher speed, so I will call this speed. And the other one, I changed the 64 times 64 and 32 times 32, and so I call this PNG. And as a result, you will see here this little cube as a little thumbnail. So I think that is pretty cool. I can imagine that you are all pumped up about slicing software, and if you have a Creality Ender 3 V3KA Clipper Edition, the one that is standing next to me, last week I did a video about it, check out right over here, and you'll see all Cura settings that you can also use on this 3D printer. Check it out.